Our trip began in Florida. Here we're kayaking on the Rainbow River in Dunlin, Florida. These absolute crystal clear waters you can see 30 feet down are spring fed. One side housing developed, with the other side nice protected wildlife. Even with really hot temperatures outside, close to 90 degrees, these were very refreshing, cool waters being spring fed. We were able to kayak and keep ourselves cool for quite some time. Oh yeah. One of the most surprising aspects to me about this river was the lush flora underneath the water. You have this absolutely beautiful, gorgeous landscape around it, and then under the water you have these 6-foot long grass and stem plants that were just beautiful. You know, things that represented Sagittarius, Kabamba, and Ludwigia, things that I have kept in my own personal aquarium. You know, getting to kayak and go through that area in person, it was just gorgeous that you could see that through the water with how clear it is. Across from the already developed houses, we have this absolutely gorgeous protected area, some of it you can't even land on because of the impact from people. And it has brought life to an array of different wildlife, including otters, turtles, alligators, and so many species of ducks I couldn't even start to name them, and beautiful birds throughout the entire area. And we saw so many fish. It was an absolute spectacle to just be around all of those animals. I would say that the biggest distractor was the amount of people on and around the river. But once you've been to a place like this that's so clean, at least in its water, with so much wildlife, you definitely want to go back, or at least visit somewhere close like it, because its beauty is magnificent, and you know, it's something we're never gonna forget, and it's a place we're definitely gonna want to visit again. So we've been living full time out of our Black Series trailer probably about 7 to 8 months now, and it's been quite an adventure. We pretty much stay 2 weeks at 1,000 Trails Resort and then move on and boondock somewhere else in the middle of nowhere as we adventure and explore the wilderness. And everywhere we go, I try to set up my glass shop and blow some glass and set up our stretching area where we can do some martial arts and keep our body healthy, which is extremely important in the lifestyle that we're establishing as we're moving. We were in Miami for Loveburn 2022, then we went to Hanover Beach and also stopped by St. Petersburg by Synergy Hot Glass, which you can see here is right by the stadium. They have an absolutely beautiful mural on the side of their building, which you're about to see. They gave us a warm welcome, and we're also going to be working on a video that features the importance of artwork. I think it's very important and underestimated, the importance of art and what it means in our lives. So look out for that video coming out soon. We also got to visit Dinner Island Ranch Wildlife Management Area, which unfortunately it's a dairy ranch that is
also a wildlife management area that allows hunting. It does support alligators, birds, and other animals that encourages, their reproduction and their well-being. So it's kind of like a give or take kind of place here, and it makes you wonder about these reservations, these wildlife management areas. Are they really being used for the betterment of the animals, or we're still really exploiting them? Like, this is still a dairy farm, restructuring the land to bring water that is missing from the Everglades that you see here that looks extremely dry. So something to think about.
As we drove through parts of Florida, we really began to wonder, how big the impact of these rerouted water lines and structures are. A lot of that water in southern Florida is used for irrigation and the growth of crops, and there has been an increase in drought in the Everglades where it's not receiving that flooding that is required from the rains in the more central southern Florida that are supposed to come down and wash into that Everglades area. It's being used for farms and redirected, just like you see here, for other uses rather than wildlife and the preservation of nature. We were in Florida during February, March, and left towards the April area when it started to get a little bit hotter. We got to experience Ocala National Forest in its grandness and beauty. It has a lot of surprising landscapes that we very much enjoyed. We got to stay there for a week, although we had an occurrence of some people faking as national rangers knocking on our door, which we de-escalated, but aside from that, it is an absolutely beautiful place. After Florida, we visited our new friend Ella, who guided us through the wondrous beauties that Alabama and Tennessee have to offer. And I have to say that it was some surprising beautiful places, and it really is the rainforest of the United States, with the lush forest, the humidity, the constant rainfall that happens there. It feels closer to a rainforest than anywhere else we've been to. And I'm going to let the beauty of the landscape speak for itself as we send the drone out above the trees. In this part of the country, with the amount of rainfall, you get a lot of rivers that carry that sediment down and wash away into the Gulf. And there's a lot of wildlife as well. We saw a lot of ducks, some fish hopping out of the water, and it was an absolutely beautiful area where we got to enjoy many sunsets that are absolutely beautiful. As people travel, I've heard a lot of people's destination as cities. We prefer, natural destinations where we get to see forests, mountains, wildlife reserves, places that are protected, because I feel that is far more beautiful than the, concrete jungle that we have created in the ignorance of mankind. Let's put it. We've destroyed some of the most beautiful landscapes of nature. In a complete contrast to Alabama, Tennessee was filled with hills, as the tail of the Appalachian Mountains broke off. Tennessee is featured in its beauty here. It has a lot of farms, but also a lot of areas for you to hike, and some rivers that we found we got to bike through, and you can check them out here. We love hiking, but we also enjoy biking and kayaking as well. That way we can explore nature in different ways. It allows you further access into the wilderness while you also get some exercise. As we travel, we seem to always be attracted towards the water, no matter if it's a river, a lake, or of course the ocean, which both of us prefer. Something about the water brings a lot of tranquility and easement to our lives, especially because we require it to live, especially clean water to drink. And it's very interesting that we're both drawn to it. Here we are visiting Lake Radnor in Tennessee, where you can hike around the entire lake. It's an absolutely beautiful, gorgeous area. After leaving our campsite in Tennessee, we got to stay in Florence, Alabama, right by the river. Check it out as this boat goes by. Now, I would camp by a river almost any single day, but I'm never ever camping by the beach with our trailer again. As you move south into the southern United States, you begin to notice that the cities are more spread out, the towns are more spread out, everything has a little bit more nature, unless it's densely populated, just like you see here in Florence. It's a little bit more filled with life and wilderness. And then we took off to Mississippi. Let me tell you, Mississippi is absolutely beautiful. I have never been so surprised by a state. It's like the extension of the rainforest into Mississippi. It's like a hidden gem people just don't know about. And, well, let's let Mississippi speak for itself.
As we drove across the Mississippi River into what became the flat part of Louisiana, the humidity hit us and our truck like a brick. Everything started to get hot, the trailer started to get hot, and the humidity and the heat were inescapable. We were headed towards Rutherford Beach, where we got to spend, it was like 3 or 4 days on the beach, and it was absolutely beautiful. We got to see birds, we got to see oil rigs, and some just really nice experience. I also got to do some fire spinning, which if you haven't seen, click the link over here. It's a little demo for you. The humidity got to us and our truck broke down. Had to take it to the shop, and unfortunately the shop we took it to kind of ripped us off. It's Rusty's Garage, just north of Houston. They overcharged us about $1,000 for the labor and the parts. Don't go to Rusty's Garage, just a heads up. But we got to stay at this lovely place with this great pool and got to relax a little bit out of the heat. But again, don't go to Rusty's Garage. After getting into Texas, which the humidity from when you go from Houston north gets absolutely stripped away from you. The air becomes drier, the plants and the ground becomes drier, and everything is just hotter in a drier fashion. We got to stay here at Lake Whitney. It's a reservoir which you can't swim in because it does have water moccasins, alligator guard that could potentially bite you. So they don't recommend swimming in it, but it was an absolutely beautiful place. It had a pool, and we got to cool off while we kind of recharged our batteries, and still had to deal with some truck issues. Thank you, Rusty's. And as we come in for a landing on my hand, I hope y'all have been enjoying this drone footage as much as I've been enjoying flying it. We've got one beautiful last sunset for you here. I absolutely loved this place before we left Texas. Check it out. If you're liking what we're doing, hit that like, hit that subscribe button. Head over to our website over here, FeraAcademy.com, and check out our next video, which is coming out. We're going to be in Colorado. We're already in Colorado. We have a lot of beautiful footage from here. Stay tuned. I am in love with the mountains. It is gorgeous. So, see you all soon. Stay safe and sniff around.